Travis Walton speaks again in 2025. Among the most significant witnesses contacted was Travis Walton, whose 1975 encounter in the Apache-Sitgreaves National Forest remains one of the most documented and controversial abduction cases in UFO history. Almost 5 decades after his alleged experience, the 72-year-old former forestry worker found himself once again at the center of intense scrutiny as investigators sought to understand how his decades-old testimony might relate to the current wave of UAP encounters. Walton's case has endured nearly half a century of investigation, debate, and analysis. On November 5, 1975, Walton was working with a 7-man forestry crew when they encountered what appeared to be a large, glowing disc-shaped object hovering in a clearing. According to witness testimony, Walton approached the craft and was struck by a beam of light, causing his terrified coworkers to flee the scene. When they returned with authorities, both Walton and the object had vanished. He reappeared 5 days later with detailed memories of being aboard an extraterrestrial craft. The case gained national attention and became the subject of extensive investigation by law enforcement, UFO researchers, and skeptics. Walton and several crew members passed polygraph examinations, though the results have been disputed over the decades. The incident was later adapted into the 1993 film Fire in the Sky, bringing Walton's story to a wider audience and cementing its place in UFO folklore. However, the case has faced significant challenges to its credibility over the years. Prominent skeptic Philip Klass conducted extensive investigations that raised serious questions about the incident's authenticity. Klass documented inconsistencies in witness testimony and suggested the possibility of a hoax motivated by financial considerations, as Walton's crew was behind schedule on a forestry contract and faced potential penalties. The most significant development came in 2021 when Mike Rogers, the crew foreman who had hired Walton and served as a primary witness, publicly retracted his original testimony. Rogers admitted that the entire incident had been staged as an elaborate hoax to avoid contract penalties and generate publicity. This retraction sent shockwaves through the UFO community and appeared to definitively resolve the case in favor of the skeptics. However, Rogers later recanted his retraction, claiming he had been pressured into making false statements and that his original testimony about the incident was accurate. This reversal created additional confusion and controversy around an already complex case. The back-and-forth nature of Rogers' statements has made it difficult for researchers to determine the truth about what actually occurred in 1975. Despite these complications, Walton has consistently maintained his account throughout the decades. He has submitted to numerous polygraph examinations, participated in documentaries, written books about his experience, and continued to speak at conferences about his alleged abduction. His unwavering consistency in recounting the details of his experience has impressed some researchers, while others point to this consistency as evidence of a well-rehearsed fabrication. The renewed interest in Walton's case stems from similarities between his descriptions of the craft's appearance and behavior and characteristics documented in recent military UAP encounters. Walton described a disc-shaped object capable of silent hovering and emission of intense light beams, features that align with observations reported by military personnel in recent years. The craft's ability to appear and disappear rapidly also matches behavior patterns documented in contemporary UAP incidents. Investigators have also noted correlations between Walton's descriptions of the beings he encountered and accounts from other alleged abductees. His detailed recollections of the craft's interior, the appearance and behavior of its occupants, and the medical procedures he claims to have undergone show remarkable consistency with other abduction accounts reported both before and after his experience. The physical evidence associated with the Walton case remains limited but intriguing. The encounter site in the Apache-Sitgreaves National Forest has been examined multiple times over the decades, with some researchers claiming to have detected unusual electromagnetic readings and soil anomalies. However, these findings have not been independently verified or accepted by mainstream scientific institutions. The case continues to divide the UFO research community. Believers point to the multiple witness testimony, polygraph results, and Walton's consistent account as evidence of a genuine extraterrestrial encounter. Skeptics emphasize the financial motivations, Rogers' retraction, and the lack of conclusive physical evidence as proof of an elaborate hoax that has been maintained for decades. The psychological impact of the case on Walton himself cannot be overlooked. Whether his experience was genuine or fabricated, he has spent nearly 50 years living with the consequences of his claims. The intense scrutiny, public ridicule, and ongoing controversy have shaped his entire adult life. His willingness to continue defending his account despite decades of skepticism suggests either genuine conviction in his experience or an extraordinary commitment to maintaining a fabrication. Recent developments in UAP disclosure have prompted renewed examination of historical cases like Walton's. Government acknowledgement of unexplained aerial phenomena has created a more receptive environment for considering accounts that were previously dismissed outright. However, the complex history of the Walton case, including the credibility issues surrounding key witnesses, makes it a challenging foundation for building broader conclusions about extraterrestrial visitation. As investigators continue to analyze patterns in UAP encounters, cases like Walton's provide historical context for understanding how these phenomena have been reported and investigated over time. The enduring controversy surrounding his account reflects the broader challenges facing UFO research, where extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. That often remains elusive. The examination of historical cases has revealed patterns that extend far beyond individual testimonies, suggesting coordinated phenomena occurring across vast geographical distances and spanning multiple decades. The Australian Outback mass sighting of March 2025, one case that demonstrates the growing credibility of civilian pilot reports, occurred in April 2025 when the National Archives released previously classified Federal Aviation Administration documentation. The release included detailed pilot testimonies and radar data from encounters that had been systematically collected but never publicly disclosed. Among these documents was a particularly compelling report from commercial aviation that highlighted the increasing frequency of unexplained aerial encounters in controlled airspace. The April 2025 National Archives release contained FAA pilot reports describing encounters with cylindrical objects exhibiting flight characteristics beyond conventional aircraft capabilities. These reports, previously classified for national security reasons, documented incidents where commercial pilots observed objects that maintained positions and performed maneuvers inconsistent with known aircraft types. The pilots' testimonies were supported by air traffic control radar data and cockpit voice recordings that corroborated their observations. One significant case involved a commercial flight over Kansas where the pilot reported a large cylindrical object maintaining a stationary position at cruising altitude. The object appeared on radar screens at multiple air traffic control facilities, eliminating the possibility of visual misidentification or isolated equipment malfunction. The pilot's detailed description of the object's metallic surface and unusual proportions was recorded in official flight logs and transmitted to FAA headquarters for investigation. Air traffic controllers confirmed tracking the cylindrical object for over 20 minutes as it remained motionless in controlled airspace. The object's radar signature was consistent across multiple detection systems, ruling out atmospheric phenomena or electronic interference. When the commercial flight requested clearance to alter course to maintain safe separation, the object suddenly accelerated and disappeared from radar screens without following any conventional flight path. The FAA documentation revealed that similar cylindrical objects had been reported by multiple commercial flights throughout 2024 and early 2025. These reports shared consistent characteristics including metallic appearance, cylindrical shape, stationary hovering capability, and sudden acceleration beyond conventional aircraft performance. The frequency of these encounters prompted the FAA to issue internal guidance to air traffic controllers regarding protocols for tracking and reporting unidentified aerial phenomena. Defense Scoop obtained additional documentation showing that some of these cylindrical objects were initially suspected of being foreign surveillance platforms, possibly Russian or Chinese spy balloons. However, analysis of their flight characteristics and radar signatures eliminated conventional balloon technology as an explanation. The objects demonstrated controlled movement patterns and acceleration capabilities that exceeded any known balloon or dirigible technology. The pilot reports included detailed observations of the object's physical characteristics that distinguish them from conventional aircraft or known surveillance platforms. Pilots described smooth, metallic surfaces without visible propulsion systems, wings, or control surfaces typical of conventional aircraft. The objects maintained perfect stability in atmospheric conditions that would challenge conventional aircraft, suggesting advanced stabilization technology. Commercial aviation authorities acknowledged that these encounters represented a significant challenge to air traffic safety protocols. The object's ability to appear and disappear suddenly in controlled airspace created potential collision risks for scheduled flights. Pilots reported that the object seemed aware of approaching aircraft, often moving to avoid potential conflicts before air traffic control could issue routing instructions. The radar tracking data revealed that these cylindrical objects operated at altitudes and speeds that placed them within commercial aviation corridors. Air traffic controllers documented instances where the objects maintained positions that would have required significant flight path alterations for commercial aircraft to maintain safe separation. The object's presence in controlled airspace without flight plans or communication with air traffic control violated fundamental aviation safety protocols. The April 2025 document release included communications between FAA officials and military authorities regarding coordination of responses to these encounters. The documents revealed ongoing cooperation between civilian aviation authorities and defense agencies to track and analyze unidentified objects in national airspace. This coordination included sharing of radar data and pilot testimony to develop comprehensive understanding of the phenomena. International aviation authorities reported similar encounters with cylindrical objects throughout 2024 and 2025, suggesting a global pattern of activity. European air traffic control systems documented comparable objects exhibiting identical flight characteristics and radar signatures. The international scope of these encounters indicated coordinated phenomena rather than isolated incidents or regional atmospheric anomalies. The release documentation showed that aviation authorities had been collecting and analyzing these reports systematically, despite limited public disclosure. Internal FAA communications revealed ongoing efforts to understand the object's origins and assess their impact on aviation safety. The systematic collection of pilot reports and radar data demonstrated official recognition that these encounters represented genuine phenomena requiring investigation. Analysis of the pilot testimonies revealed consistent descriptions of objects that exceeded known technological capabilities. The cylindrical objects demonstrated flight characteristics that challenged basic understanding of aerodynamics and propulsion systems. Their ability to hover motionlessly followed by instantaneous acceleration suggested propulsion methods beyond conventional aircraft technology. The FAA's internal protocols for handling these encounters included specific procedures for pilot reporting and air traffic control documentation. These protocols ensured that encounters were recorded systematically and transmitted to appropriate authorities for analysis. The existence of formal procedures indicated that aviation authorities recognized these encounters as legitimate phenomena requiring official response. The documentation revealed that some encounters involved multiple aircraft observing the same objects simultaneously, providing independent verification of the sightings. These multi-witness encounters eliminated the possibility of individual pilot error or equipment malfunction. The consistency of observations across multiple independent sources strengthened the credibility of the reports. The release of this aviation documentation represented a significant shift toward transparency in government handling of unidentified aerial phenomena. The decision to declassify pilot reports and radar data demonstrated recognition that public disclosure served legitimate interests in aviation safety and scientific understanding. This transparency initiative would soon expand dramatically as other government the FBI's 2025 Vault expansion.